We're standing on Luss Glebe. A glebe was a bit of land that was given to the minister when he came, along with his church and his manse. It was a place where ministers would grow their crops and rear their animals. Today it's been lying desolate for some 10 years or so, since the bridge fell down. But the bridge has now been rebuilt by the Royal Engineers, and we're involved in opening up this beautiful 25-acre area of land for the benefit of everyone. As you'll see round about here, there's a beautiful meadow area, and then there's an oak forest, and if we made our way through the oak forest, we'd come to the lochside. Beautiful, beautiful land. The idea is that over the next 4 years, young people come from all over the world to help us build a pathway. It's not just an ordinary pathway, we're calling it a pilgrimage pathway, because alongside the path, youngsters will leave things which will remind other people of their presence here. There'll be poems written in their own languages with English translations underneath. There'll be statues. And as we make our way through the trees, there'll be all kinds of other mementos which will encourage people to think about what life is all about. It's a glorious piece of land, and it's going to be available for everyone. So if you're ever in this area, I hope that you'll be sure to come and visit our pilgrimage pathway. I told you that this was a 4-year project. The reason for that is that in 4 years' time, in the year 2010, our church will celebrate 1500 years of continuous Christian presence. And this pathway project is part of our celebration for that. I'm standing now where the main pathway will begin to break up and go into smaller pathways that will make their way through the trees towards the lochside. So come on with me. This is an old oak forest. Once upon a time, the whole of Loch Lomond would have been covered with these glorious trees. And it's rather special that we've got this area that really is just quite as it originally was. And the pathway will make its way through the trees, and there'll be a lot to see. One of the rangers told me that of all the places in the whole of the national park, this was his favourite place. In fact, he regarded it as his special place, a place that he liked to come and enjoy the quiet. And if you look around, there's some quite mature trees, and also the national park have planted for us some smaller new trees that will eventually grow up. You'll see that there are bird boxes on the trees, and the bird boxes have all got metal fronts. And the reason for that is that when they were first put up, some woodpeckers attacked them, and so they've now got metal fronts to repel the woodpeckers. Looking in this direction, you see trees for as far as the eye can see. But if you turn and look down this little path that we're creating here, you see that we come out to the lochside itself. And that's where I'll take you just now. You'll see there's a lot of dead trees here. I thought that those were things that we would have to clear up, but that's the wrong thing to do, I'm told. I'm told that for wildlife, these trees that are decaying are absolutely a perfect home. The other thing that we're going to hope to do is to create 1 or 2 little areas where people will be encouraged to camp. And when we make these little areas for people to camp, then we'll cut up some of the dead wood and leave it there so that they can use it for firewood rather than thinking that it would be appropriate to cut down one of our living trees. There's always something happening on Loch Lomond. There's always a boat going back and forwards just from one end of the loch to the other. And it's lovely to think that we have this beautiful expanse of lochside which is part of the glebe. This is one of the places that people enjoy coming and creating a barbecue, or perhaps even camping. And because folk from the church come across and look after the glebe, if there's any litter left, it's never left for very long. Really do have everything on this glebe. Here behind me is a real deep pool. At this end, you can see where at certain times of the year there are glorious lilies that grow. There's a story that I was told when I came here and that is that this deep, deep pool has a conger eel in the bottom of it. I don't believe that for one moment. I suspect that it's a story that was told by parents to children to keep them out of the deep water. This is really quite interesting, and I'm very glad to be able to show you this today. This is where one of our little paths comes back and joins on with the main path up on the meadow. But you'll see we've had an awful lot of rain over the last few days, and this area has become flooded. And so it reminds us what we're going to be doing in the next 2 or 3 years. Here we're going to have duckboard, so that the pathway will continue, but will go over that water and enable people to look and see the area even although it's underwater.